Landmark rulings from the Supreme Court today, rolling back a key civil rights law designed to help minorities, and upholding a law designed to help endangered animals. Also, D-Day in orbit, the historic docking of the American shuttle Atlantis and the Russian space station. Scott Pelley on What's Up on the High Frontier.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Good evening. The United States Supreme Court unloaded several pre-4th of July bombshells today before recessing for the summer. One of the biggest, a ruling that will make it harder for African Americans, Hispanics, and other minorities to win elective office and a share of political power. Correspondent Jim Stewart reports on the ruling and its impact.
It stretches awkwardly from the skyline of Atlanta through 250 miles of farmland to the seaport of Savannah. Created to give black voters a majority, critics have called Georgia's 11th congressional district a geographical monstrosity. Today, the Supreme Court called it unconstitutional. Speaking for a 5-4 majority, Justice Anthony Kennedy wrote race was the predominant overriding factor behind the 11th district, and discrimination, he wrote, cannot be ended by carving electorates into racial blocks. The ruling is expected to unleash a flood of lawsuits against similar all-black districts created by several states in order to meet Justice Department voting rights guidelines. Black leaders vowed to fight every challenge.
We will not allow the clock to be turned back. We will fight so that justice will reign in this country in spite of the Supreme Court.
At its heart, however, this decision is as much about politics as it is about race. That's because oddly drawn congressional districts have resulted not only in more African American members of Congress, but more Republicans as well. The entire face of Congress, in fact, changed in 1990 after southern states began lumping blacks in some districts, leaving whites in all the others. In Georgia, for example, black members of Congress increased from 1 to 3, while Republicans jumped from 1 to 7. Now some black congressmen worry their gains in that trade-off may disappear.
If this decision stands, many members who are now Hispanics and blacks who sit in the great halls of Congress will not be able to sit here in the future.
And Democrats ponder whether today's decision will help in their bid to recapture the Old South.
Black voters who could have helped elect Democrats in many districts have all been put in single districts in many of these states, and so you've traded off, in many cases, 2 or 3 white Democrats for 1 black Democratic member of Congress.
In fact, of the 40 African Americans now sitting in Congress, all but 2 come from redrawn districts that may now face legal challenge. Jim Stewart, CBS News, Washington.
The Supreme Court also redrew the constitutional line today, separating church and state in 2 cases. The court said a public university violated student free speech when it denied funds to a student-run Christian magazine. And the High Court said state officials in Ohio should have let the Ku Klux Klan display a cross in a public park during Christmas. On another deeply divisive issue, the Supreme Court breathed new life today into the Endangered Species Act. Correspondent Jerry Bowen looks at that case, a case that touched off a huge turf battle, threatened birds versus threatened jobs.
The issue was how far the government could go in protecting an endangered species, specifically the northern spotted owl. The question whether Oregon landowners and loggers like Tom Hirons could be banned from developing their own private property in the effort to save the owl's habitat.
Out here, we're regulated to death. I was raised to believe